Welcome back. I'm Nate. That's Tony. We're recapping the championship week of the NFL. We're going to be talking about some head coaching and offensive coordinator changes within the NFL. Maybe hit on a little bit of the Pro Bowl because it's Pro Bowl week, Tony. Everybody's favorite week in the NFL season.
No.
Then we're also going to be drafting in honor of the Pro Bowl and its fictitious type of football to where they don't even play the game anymore. We're going to be drafting our top 5 fictional athletes. But before you click off this video and go somewhere else, we want you to comment down below why you're leaving the video. Because we see a lot of people will watch it, and then you click off because the retention time's not that high. So let us know in the comments why you're going to leave before you leave, and then we'll see you later.
Is it the mustache? It's the mustache, isn't it?
I don't know. I shaved, Tony, and I got a haircut because I was getting out there a little bit, and burly. So for the female listeners, if they're into that, dudes, if you're into me, now you could be into me and stay a little bit longer. But first, as always, Tony, top of mind. What's top of mind for you?
The Stanley Cup. Not the NHL Stanley Cup, Nate. Did you know
the lead poisoning Stanley Cup?
Did you know that for the low price of $45, you can get a cup made with lead in it that costs just as much as a lead-free Yeti? Worst part is,
white broads.
Yeah, Stanley has admitted to using lead to do their vacuum seal or whatever, but stop buying these stupid cups. You can get better quality for the same price or cheaper if you get like the Walmart or Target special, right? But you can go out and like search videos of people doing like the at-home lead tests. They're just swabbing the inside of the cups and it's coming up positive. So stop using Stanley Cups, guys. It's a terrible idea.
No, use them. This is a process of elimination on why it is not good to follow herds, to try to be with the in crowd. The same people who have Stanley Cups have gone through having hydro flasks, have been Tupperware sales people, also have sold Sensi. What else have they done? LuLaRoe, and they're con artist of a company as well in their multi-level marketing. They probably sold or bought things from Amway and tried to get their friends to go into their house and get an Amway presentation. Their style has changed through 7 decades in the last 6.5 years because that's what's popular and what everybody else is doing. Please use the Stanley Cup. Please use the Stanley Cup. It's so good because that thing, Stanley is literally was like the Walmart, like you know how Walmart has whatever their tool brand is now, that blue one that's in there all the time. That used to just be Stanley. And I know because I got a whole toolbox full of Stanley tools from when I used to work at Walmart doing assembly and just building all the bikes and furniture and shelves and stuff. Because I got all my tools for free from Walmart, but I had to get the Stanley ones because they were the junk ones. And you're drinking out of a junk cup because some chick on TikTok did it. Congratulations. You're what we like to see in America. So freedom. Top of mind for me, I don't know. Positivity is really on top of mind. I've been in a very negative mood lately, a mood that has, let's say, paralyzed me for about a week, just emotionally and stuff like that. We didn't record last week because I had a lot of stuff going on, and I'd taken all these things super negative, what's the worst that could happen type of stuff, and had to deal with a younger person that's involved in my life around being negative or being a negative person or a let's just say a bad person. I don't think that all negative people are bad, but I think it's a bad trait to continuously be negative. So I think that negativity is pretty bad. It doesn't do anything good for you. Right?
It weighs on you.
It weighs on you so much, and then you react in certain ways to different situations, or try to cling on to different crowds, like the Stanley Cup crowd, to fit in a time where you feel like you are kind of lost or you're down or negative about a situation. So top of mind for me right now has been positivity and looking at good sides of things as opposed to bad sides of things. Like if you're going to take a pay cut to do a job that you want, but it's a job that you want to do. But do you want to take a pay cut? Like all the kinds of situations that can happen in life. Having a positive outlook kind of changes the way I think your everyday life can go. And up until today, and probably this moment right now, I've been in a pretty negative mood, and it has not been fun. Um, it has not been fun. So let's move on. Sports. We're going to get into some stuff that might be negative here, but we're going to try to spin. We're going
Yes.
to talk positively about some of these things here. Conference championship games, Tony, recap. Chiefs 17, the Baltimore Ravens, number 5 ever DVOA DVOA team in the history of the National Football League since I think it is 1986 or 84
Yeah.
is when he has tape. I think he's missing one game from that season, so he won't go any farther. Team of all time, number 5.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens,
Pretty
10
good.
points. Justin Tucker tried to get into the mind of the greatest quarterback to ever play the football game. Throw the forward pass, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the opportunity to chuck the helmet as far as he wanted to. Politely moved it to the side and got it out of the way. A lot was made of that situation. Harrison Butker on the other side of the field, same spot as Justin Tucker. He took Justin Tucker's spot. So Justin Tucker, hey, I won't complain. I'll just go to the other side of the field and do my stretches.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Chiefs, Ravens in Baltimore.
We learned our lesson the week before. Didn't do the pick and winners last week, but you can't bet against Mahomes. It's also easy to forget that Steve Spagnuolo runs that defense for Kansas City, and he is a very good defensive coordinator. Mediocre or bad, maybe head coach doesn't run a team very well, but phenomenal defensive coordinator, almost like a second head coach, Randy Reed. But he shut it down. The Chiefs shut it down. And then if you watch the first half, Mahomes was like, I think 11 for 11 or 12 for 12 at one point. I remember David talking about it in our chat. So ultra efficient. You combine those two things, like it's going to be tough to beat, even for, a record breaking defense over the last, 30 years or something like that.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that the Chiefs won this game without having Kadarius Toney on the field. You guys know how I feel about Kadarius Toney and my love for that dude. But apparently he's not hurt per his Instagram live. But he's obviously got something wrong with him because they got him on the injury report.
Yeah.
And I think they have other reasons listed or something like that too.
He's got some personal locker room stuff.
It's
plain to see.
Personal issues. So, yeah, not a good showing for Lamar Jackson. The box score looks okay, but it was not an efficient game for him. I think the Baltimore Ravens, their downfall was really the fact that they made it their emphasis to show that Lamar Jackson can throw the forward pass. But we looked at it all year. Not a lot of stuff outside the numbers down the field, which is a sign of good quarterback play and being a good forward passer. A lot of stuff behind the line, really short of the line of scrimmage. But you notice it all season, and it was really highlighted in the playoffs because everybody's watching it. But Lamar will sit back there, and he could sit back there for 9 seconds because no one's going to rush.
Yeah.
Right? But we've talked about it before on how the receivers don't create any separation or move without the ball really well. So that's where you see those Lamar runs come in or whatever like that. But when they needed Lamar to run the ball, they didn't do it. The game got so out of hand that Lamar Jackson had to complete a pass to himself. Did not hit the over. We got hooked on the over for receiving yards for Lamar Jackson on that play. And the Ravens stopped running the ball against the defense.
Doesn't make any sense.
That lets up a lot of yards on the ground.
Yeah.
Like they can get gashed in the ground. And I think they had single-digit design runs for running backs in this game. That's if you remove the so-called Tony Romo coined RPO, when now it's not even RPO. It's really just play action. They just fake the handoff, right, to get the pass.
Yeah.
But it's not an RPO. There's no actual run option in those plays. So I think it was like 8 runs to the running backs in this game, which was kind of wild because they were succeeding on the ground. The downfall of the Ravens was to run the ball, and we'll see if the downfall of the Niners is trying to prove that Brock Purdy is the MVP and all that kind of stuff, because we know Shanahan can get into that. We know he can get into that. He did it against Baltimore. Granted, Baltimore has a better run defense, but They almost did it against this Lions team that they beat 34-31, where they had one touchdown drive in the first half, and they ran the ball. They
Yeah.
lined up and said, "Hey, we're going to see who has more grit. We're going to run it. We may get 3 yards, but you know what? If you run the ball 4 times for 3 yards, Tony, you know what that is? First down, 12 yards." And then they
Yeah.
went back, pass, Brock Purdy pick. Jesus Christ, I'm tilting. Niners are down 24-7 at halftime. Your thoughts on this game?
Did Kyle Shanahan make adjustments and have a better second half than his opponent, Nate? Is that what happened?
I think so. It's kind of wild.
It's so weird.
I mean, he didn't do a 28-3. I mean, so it's not
No.
that impressive or anything like that, right? But
Still,
two
man.
weeks in a row, they made some adjustments.
Yeah. The offense and the defense. But we saw Detroit on more than one occasion in the 2023 season play a great first half script, and then just kind of struggle to adjust to what their opponent was doing. I think that's what happened here. San Fran owned the second half. If you watch the game, I think it's going to be a fun Super Bowl. I don't know if Kyle Juszczyk's wife is going to be making anyone any custom jackets for this matchup, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think when they scored that first touchdown, the Lions did on like 4 plays. You had that big Jameson Williams reverse for
The run,
Jameson Williams, for a touchdown, a long one. I didn't really panic. I was just like, okay, your first scripted plays, like, let's see what happens after you run 15 plays.
15, 20
But then
plays.
the next drive, boom, touchdown quick. And then touchdown again. Jesus Christ. Like, can we at least get them to, 20 plays before they can, so we can see what's going on here, coach, before you start letting up touchdowns.
You've talked about Jared Goff, like when he was with the Rams and like when Sean McVay, they did the hurry up offense. McVay's telling him what to do at the line, right? The moment he gets outside of any of that structure, I'm not going to say the loss was his fault, but I think he has struggle, carrying the team, putting the team on his back, and scoring points. You saw that in the second half. You're off script, right? You don't have the coach in your helmet, but
they also, as the Niners scored that field goal to open up the second half, they went to the passing game, and you just gash the Niners on the ground because they don't get out of base formations. They don't send pressure, and their linebackers are 6.5 yards off the ball, so you could just run on it all day. And that's what Detroit did, and then they stopped doing it, and then the Niners score a touchdown, and they're down 7, and it's pass. It was like everything that we talked about what Kyle Shanahan does. The Detroit Lions did that. Apparently, their offensive coordinator is staying in Detroit. He's not going to Washington. He probably got asked not to come to Washington after that. That's how bad of a performance that was. That after the game, Washington's like, you know what? Maybe we'll just talk to Belichick.
It's probably for the best. I'd like to see him grow there with that team, that core. So,
yeah,
he's not a great offensive coordinator, but he's good. He's good. Maybe another year will do him right.
From the time that the halftime started, Tony, in real-time minutes, I believe it was 40 minutes until the Niners had the ball game tied up. And 12 minutes of actual gameplay, down 3 scores to have a tie ball game.
Yeah.
The place was rocking. It was awesome. My daughter, she had like a sprained ankle, so she's got her foot up over the weekend and stuff like that. She probably got it from playing you in pickleball, but she came back and like I don't know what it was. She stepped wrong or something like that, and she couldn't put any weight on it for like 3 days. But so she had her foot up or whatever. She's wearing like some shorts and a tank top. Got out of the bath at halftime. She got kind of cold, so she was because I usually turn the heat down a little bit before we go to bed so the house will cool off.
Yep.
And she changed into this Grinch onesie. So it's like all fuzzy green Grinch onesie. And as the Niners tied up the ball game, she said, "I stole Christmas from the Detroit Lions like the Baltimore Ravens stole it from the Niners." And that's what we've gone with all the time. So she's going to wear that Grinch outfit on next Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
It was fun to watch Brock Purdy run the ball. He did it a lot at Iowa State. He was more of a gunslinger and ended up, his problem was turnovers and stuff like that. but it was good to
Yep.
see him kind of
Couple long
take off.
ones. Yeah.
And it was fun because as a Niner fan, you sit there and you watched the worst loss of the decade outside of the two Super Bowl losses you had where you let up 21 points in the fourth quarter to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2018 to lose a Super Bowl when going up 10 into the fourth quarter on Christmas Day against the Ravens and
Yeah.
Lamar running everywhere, and then to watch Lamar go down and then Brock Purdy win a game with his legs essentially, keeping drives alive, throwing alley oop passes to Juwan Jennings. That's our boy,
That's
Tony
very
Juwan
good.
Jennings with that Odell Beckham like catch. We didn't touch on that um, last week because we didn't record, but
Hmm.
in-game betting is where it is, Tony. And I showed you the tools of the trade. Debo's down. Juwan Jennings fills that role. Juwan Jennings over 33 and a half. He had like 26 at that, whatever it was at halftime, and
Hmm.
his over-under was 33 and a half. Fucking just throw the mortgage on it, whatever. One catch. Boom. Win some money. That was a fun time. But
Yeah.
the Eagles hired Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator and Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. Any thoughts on this situation after they keep Nick Sirianni around, fire everybody else? What's happening here? They just get the two best like minds that are thought of in the coordinating realm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think competency was the at those spots, offensive and defensive coordinator were what was lacking this past season. So the thought, I guess, is that you make up for the competency that you're lacking at the head coach position, bringing those guys in. But I think the defense is going to be a work in progress. I do think Kellen Moore knows what to do when the defense blitzes. So there's hope there for that offense.
Mm-hmm.
And then for whatever reason, Philly could not figure it out in 2023. So I think Kellen Moore will have little issue, solving at least that piece. The defense, a whole nother issue. But Vic Fangio has had success in that spot.
Yeah. I think you think that Nick Sirianni's on a 1-year leash right now,
Yeah.
where they bring in the two top like coordinators that are out there, two of the big names.
If it's a rough start, like he could be gone right midseason,
Yeah.
and you just pick one of those guys, maybe Kellen Moore. Vic Fangio's had his shot as a head coach,
Yeah.
didn't work out that well, so maybe Moore gets the shot if Sirianni, gets off to a slow start, stumbles out of the gate. So I think it's a good move by is it Laurie?
Yeah. Or you have some special teams like quality control coach, assistant, be your head coach interim, just like Carolina did, and it seemed to work out pretty well for them. So they ended up with the number one pick, but it's not theirs.
It's not theirs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 1-year deal
It has to be.
for him.
Has to
I'm
be.
kind of I don't understand why Miami let Fangio go. Like they brought him in for 1 year, and you had everybody and their mother get injured, and your
Yeah.
defense still played fairly decent. Like I don't know what Miami's doing, what they plan to do, and like bring in somebody who's going to be better than Vic Fangio.
And
I
that's the
don't know.
defense you use to counter, the McVay, Shanahan, McDaniel offense, which everyone's running for the most part, right? So I
Yeah,
don't get that move. Felt like you give Fangio one more year down there and hope for better
yeah,
health. I don't know.
yeah. Maybe McDaniel's was the issue in San Francisco with all the injuries. Because
He's
the
brought
Niners used to
brought
have
to Miami.
injuries left
Yeah,
and right, and then you go to Miami, they got them all. And the
yeah,
like Christian McCaffrey, I think missed one game. Debo's always hurt, but
yeah,
um, Raheem Morris is now the new head coach in Atlanta. Um, I think I convinced you, and Bill Belichick's going to Atlanta or Dallas. So let's bet this.
yeah.
Any other team that's listed here, they go with Raheem Morris here. Your thoughts on this situation, this hire, passing up on what I think the world thought Bill Belichick was going to end up
Yeah,
going there.
yeah. Those bets are dead. But not a fan of defensive-minded coaches running teams. With that said, Raheem Morris did bring Zach Robinson with him from the Rams. Robinson was the passing game coordinator for LA,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the quarterbacks coach. So hopefully you get some Sean McVay scheme there. That would be fantastic, right, for all of the top 10 draft picks at those skill positions for the Falcons. But the South is wide open. So Atlanta, they were close to winning it with Arthur Smith. I'd give them a decent shot at winning it, with Raheem Morris and hopefully a more competent offense in 2024.
Are we just going to be all in on the Falcons
Maybe.
come fantasy season just to get our hearts ripped out?
Yeah, as always. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
We'll see what they do at quarterback. I think that'll play a pretty big role.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see his second shot at being a head coach because he was the youngest hired head coach in the NFL when he coached Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He was the McVay before the McVay type of thing, right? And it did not pan out. Done well as defensive coordinator.
He did really
Um,
well in LA for sure.
and I think if he could just get somebody to run the offense, they have dudes on that defense, like great linebackers. We've talked about it over and over and over about their like they have 5-man corners who are like
Secondary. Yep.
top 40 in the league at the position. So they can just play man on the back end so well
Mm-hmm.
through nickel and dime packages, everything like that. So, and they have stud safeties too there. So
Yeah. They don't
it'll
have a lot of
be,
needs. It's literally just someone to run the damn thing.
yeah, run an offense that's competent and then build a culture around the building.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool. I hope that we get to see some Dirty Birds celebrations
Oh, it'd be good.
going
Yeah, it'd
forward
be
with
good.
Atlanta because we don't know if it's in the arsenal of celebrations because they don't score fucking touchdowns in Atlanta.
It's true. It's a true story.
Man, we're gonna deal with two backs there though, like that McVay type scheme. I
Sure.
think we're gonna end up getting both half and half with Algier and Bijan, maybe some Bijan stuff in the slot. Maybe they use him like how
As long as
McCaffrey's
they're not
used and stuff.
rolling out Patterson, that's fine.
You think they get a quarterback?
I they I'd feel a lot better about this if they did, Nate, honestly.
Like so who? Like so trade for Justin Fields, sign Russell Wilson. Do you think Russell Wilson would do good there? In that scheme? He might.
I don't know.
I've heard that
I'm
that
pessimistic
type of
about Russ.
scheme is like quarterback proof, right? So anybody can run it. Any quarterback can go out there and succeed
Yo,
and
have
have
you
MVP level play, be number one efficient quarterback in any situation that you ever put him in because of the scheme, and that's not MVP worthy. So maybe we don't bet the Falcons quarterback to be the MVP next year,
you're talking about
but
Johnny
we get
Wolford and
excited
Baker Mayfield, right? Is that who you're talking about?
Baker Mayfield. That scheme's so good that Baker Mayfield could win a game
To walking off
without
the
knowing
airplane.
any other place.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He got there 4 hours before, got fitted for a jersey. They sewed it. Like he didn't have it before warm ups and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, it's nuts.
pretty crazy. Jim Harbaugh's the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, leaving Michigan, left them in shambles. Sanctions coming left and right, but he won a national championship there. Your thoughts on this dude going to the AFC Los Angeles Chargers?
Do we call this the Pete Carroll? Is that what this is? Is this the Pete Carroll, the USC
Hey,
situation?
he's Pete Carroll.
Yeah, pretty much the modern Pete Carroll. So competency, just like in Philly, I think it begins at the head coach position. I think a big part of the Chargers' struggles the last few years was Staley. So maybe Harbaugh helps settle things down for LA in that regard. You're still in Mahomes' shadow in the AFC West, so good luck with that. Maybe the NFC East was the better play with Dallas. That would have won me a lot of money, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful. He built a pretty solid team there in San Francisco, right?
yeah.
Before Kyle Shanahan, before they tore that down. But yeah, I'm optimistic about it for sure.
I'm looking forward to it because Harbaugh's succeeded. How do you say that? Succeeded. Is that what it is? Because there's two
Yeah,
C's.
yeah. He didn't
Succeeded.
secede. That's something else.
Succeed. Yeah, that's like
You're,
when you
you're
leave the
thinking
nation.
Texas. You're thinking
Yeah,
Texas right now. Yeah, yeah,
been following all the border crisis and stuff like that.
yeah.
Thinking about what is that group? There, I don't know. There's some group that was crazy. It's like I don't know, God's
I don't
Army
know.
or something like that. Some crazy white boy shit. But, uh, but when he was at San Diego State, he built a team, and he built it through the line, and he did very well and succeeded there. Did it at Stanford. Stanford never was a great passing school,
Mm-hmm.
but they ran the hell out of the ball. Toby Gerhart made the NFL
I
and
remember Toby.
started for the Minnesota Vikings because of this dude.
Yeah.
Did it at San Francisco, did it at Michigan. Michigan had the best offensive line in the country last year, best defensive line. And that's what he's done everywhere. It's cool because when you look at like what McVay has done or other coaches off of that tree, their offensive lines usually aren't like the strongest point of it. But Shanahan's has been like that in San Francisco because they made the culture of building lines,
Mm-hmm.
offensive, defensive lines under the hardball regime. So I'm interested to see that because, I love me some Justin Herbert and I want to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of this running game with this team. And I think they're going to build this offensive line. They're going to compete. Um, it's going to be fun. I think they're in some cap hell if they can get rid of some players and get rid of the cap penalty for a year. Like they have some bad contracts with old dudes who aren't going to give up their contracts and like restructure and this that the other because they're going to be looking to get one more for like half the money.
The
But
cap
I think
is
they can.
made up, Nate.
No,
New
it's
Orleans is
no,
like $700 million over the cap every year. It's just a made up number.
no, no. But but they have some really bad salary. But the problem is like, does your owner want to spend money? The Chargers don't want to spend money. Like you are the bottom feeding team of that city, and you share a stadium. And imagine being a bottom feeding team
Rent's
with
not cheap at SoFi.
up against a quarterback on the other side wearing a darker shade of blue who can't stop getting hit and injured and
Mm-hmm.
keeps playing. So
Mm-hmm.
um, a team that had a rookie set like be like had like the fifth most yards in the NFL, like 1,500 yards with a rookie
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver, and you're over here with the better quarterback. It's pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. So I'm definitely excited to see it. The cool thing I like about Harbaugh though is it feels like he's on a mission, and maybe he ends up winning a Super Bowl with the Chargers because he went to Michigan where he played and where he's from to win a national championship, and he did it. And he also played
Stop.
for the Los Angeles or for the San
Stop.
Diego Chargers at the time. Chargers win Super Bowl. Chargers win
NFL
Super Bowl.
writers, are you listening? Are you paying attention?
Script writer, script writer. Hey, I had pretty good scripting this year. That was
It
pretty
was
good.
good. It was good.
It looks like Bill Belichick's not going to coach in the NFL again. Uh, one, do you think he gets a job in the NFL? Two, what would you like him to end up doing if he doesn't get a job?
No, he wasn't doing anything in New England post Tom Brady, and his coaching tree is abysmal. Just literally, just littered with garbage. I'd also like to make a prediction here, Nate. Um, Mayo, Gerard Mayo, hired for New England to definitely not tank. He's not tanking, well tanking. He'll be gone in 2 seasons or less. New
Yeah.
England also receives 2 extra third-round picks for hiring Mayo, and could receive a third if they hire a second minority, which I assume they already have. I haven't looked at like who the new hires were. Pretty sure that happened. Bob Kraft has also been reported as saying, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." So New England, you heard it here first. They're tanking the next couple years, not looking to win a damn thing.
They're going to get some dope ass like draft picks, a stud quarterback, and then bring Bill Belichick back. Like run
Take
it.
a
Let's
hiatus.
go dynasty.
Yeah,
Where you're going to be the like Andy Reid's going to catch you in wins, and then he's going to retire, and then you're going to come back.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he coaches in the NFL
No,
again.
I think
And
he's done.
I think it is the coaching tree because now you see guys like Shanahan that like his influence on the game is everywhere, and everybody wants to run that scheme. You see guys like Fangio, while not a great defensive or off head coach,
Head
great
coach. Yeah,
defensive coordinator, has groomed people to become great defensive coordinators,
yeah,
and they're it's all over the league. It's what everybody
yeah,
runs, right? Like you're people realizing like, oh, your influence on the game and who you've your proteges
yeah,
are going to be successful, and Bill Belichick just has never produced any of
yeah.
that.
Andy Reid's another one.
Yeah, Andy Reid's the same way
Yep.
too. So, uh, with that, I think I heard someone else talk about it because I don't think it was my own idea. It's definitely not my own idea, but it would be cool to see like him and like Bill Belichick and Nick Saban do a broadcast like how the Manning brothers do. Like for them to do a little bit of a Manning cast. I don't know what happened to Tony. He just got kicked out. So I'm going to keep going. But he'll be back. But I would like to see Bill Belichick, Nick Saban do like a Manning cast type of thing to where they talk about sports or the game as it's going on. But I think that would be pretty cool because I think Bill Belichick's actually pretty funny. Like he's a dick to the media, but when you hear players talk about him or you see him on like college game day, the dude has like a pretty good personality. So does Nick Saban. You've seen Nick Saban loosen up a little bit while going on Pat McAfee show throughout this last football season. I'm going to pause so that Tony can come back. Tony, either did not plug in his computer. I think he's using a desktop though, so that's kind of weird. Maybe like let's think about top 5 things that Tony's doing right now, or that caused Tony to drop out of the stream. Number 5, he didn't plug in an actual desktop, and it was running on like some backup battery that's in there that only lasts a little bit, or he's got one of those rechargeables that you use for your phone while you go out to power his computer, because that's how much Tony knows about technology. 2, his old lady, let's see, his old lady sabotaged it and somehow figured out how to hack the port in which he is in to get onto the internet. He's texting me right now saying that the service that we're using, that I'm actually using right now, is not working for him, which is a lie. 3, his old lady came in and gave him the eye. So he did this whole thing to stop it, because she's like, hey, you need to go downstairs and do the dishes and pack kids' lunches for tomorrow. And also make sure that you iron my clothes for when I go to work, because you're not going to do it in the morning. Number 2, obviously, it's his natural baiting time. We usually record starting about now, and he's usually like 3 minutes late. So maybe he's baiting right now. We'll see. And number 1, probably just something's wrong with his connection. So nothing really good for the number 1. Number 2 is probably the most likely thing. And he'll be back in about 3 seconds. And moving on. Tony, it is Pro Bowl week. Pro Bowl used to be fun. You saw all the best players go out there and bang heads and stuff like that. And it was actually pretty fun to watch back when they competed. And then they stopped competing as much because more money came into the league and people get injured and stuff like that, right? And you don't want people to get injured. And even though they have a whole off season, or something like that. And hell, if Brock Purdy can come back from a UCL surgery, not Tommy John, but more sophisticated Tommy John, so they don't call it Tommy John because it's actually better than Tommy John, and lead his team to the Super Bowl, people can deal with ACLs and all that kind of stuff. We want to see them at their peak performance try to compete. But it's Pro Bowl week.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be watching Pro Bowl week?
Before I answer that, can I go over the events at this year's Pro Bowl, Nate? Do you mind?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Feed
me.
Can I indulge the listeners?
Yep.
Precision passing makes sense. You get to see your quarterbacks, throw the ball into very tight windows. That sounds fun. Best catch. Are the receivers catching the ball from these quarterbacks throwing precision? No, these are pre-recorded, one player per conference. What? Closest to the pin.
What?
This is golf.
That's like golf. Recording the dunk competition.
Yeah, but only one person dunking and maybe only one dunk.
Okay, Aaron Gordon, submit me your best dunk on film. Probably filmed with a fucking Android, so you can't even see it when they put it on the TV because it's in like 360p.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you're in the right complaining about this. Closest to the pin, so they're golfing, where we get to see the NFL's best players golf at the NFL Pro Bowl. High stakes, that's what this event is called. This is jugs catching for kick returners to see who can catch and hold on to the most balls. So they start the competition, high stakes, with one ball in their hand, and then they have to catch as many as they can while holding on to everything. I don't see a scenario where that would be useful in the NFL. Dodgeball, why? Again, this is the NFL. Kick-tack-toe. Kickers play tic-tac-toe. Precision kicking, I guess. I'm fine abolishing the kicker position, so I don't support that. Madden, head-to-head.
Wait a minute. You're getting rid of the whole kicker position.
Just abolish it. Get it out
of
my life.
Like in the NFL.
Sure. Get out.
I am too. I hate the kicker position.
So
it used to mean something.
I hate
it. One, kickoffs don't matter whatsoever. You can't onside kick because they got rid of the rule that you can't run before it. Yep. And then, why do we want to go settle for a field goal? Wouldn't the game be more exciting if everybody went for it on 4th down?
Yeah, Dan Campbell says
yes. Yards, or you're stopped at the 15. Yeah. Or you're stopped at your own 35. No kicking.
And intramural flag football rules for the extra point. You have distances for 1 point, 2 points, and I think 3 points like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, something like that. Like, I would say I'd be a yes on that. Get rid of the kickers. Get them out of my life. The next thing, Madden head to head. You get to watch, the 0.1% of all football players, the gladiators, in America play
Yeah.
football. You get to watch those guys play a video game head to head. So that's awesome. An obstacle course. You get to see football players do some type of obstacle course.
It's
Tug
like
of
the
war.
confidence
Tu-
course in like in military basic
yeah,
training. Like, hey,
exactly.
you're gonna have to go over this pool of water across 2 ropes.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to climb down a wall.
yeah.
Congratulate. Ugh.
The next event, tug of war. I guess that's cool. You get like an O line going against another O line or something. That's a test of strength, I guess. But again, they're football players not playing football. And then the last thing they have is called move the chains. So this is players moving weight off of a wall. I think it's a 2,000-pound wall with 1,000 pounds of weight on top of it. And they have to move it to like a certain point, I guess. That's all I could gather from the website, the NFL website.
Mm.
But conclusion, if we're not playing football, why are we doing this? I know player safety's probably at the forefront, but I will not be partaking, Nate. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to be partaking. I was listening to. I've talked about him before on here. I've mentioned him at least, but Theo Ash and a couple other guys that do a podcast called Stay Hot,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like NFL Twitter film guys or whatever like that, right? They do a lot of stuff on film review and stuff and learn the game that way, and it's actually pretty. You learn a lot about different players and stuff like that from them, and they're young. They're like in their mid-20s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they were talking about it, about like, yo, FanDuel hit us up with this sweet boosted 6-leg parlay, single game parlay for the Pro Bowl. We'll sponsor it and get it out. You can feature us or whatever. And they were talking about, it was so funny hearing it from them because they're so calm and mellow, right? So
Yeah.
when they say something that's funny, it's like fucking hilarious because they're not like talking fast or loud like I do or how we get if we rant or something like that. But they were talking about first player to gritty type of thing, or a player giddies anytime during the game, basically like doing the anytime touchdown thing with the
Yeah.
gritty, and like they're like cooking up a super mega max whale bookie buster 6-leg parlay boosted 125 odds for these 4 players to gritty and stuff like that. It was
Mm-hmm.
pretty fucking funny. So I don't know. It's the Pro Bowl sucks.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Like I want to see like if you played like legit 7-on-7 or even like just legit flag where it was all out, right? And then you're still getting to see that stuff from the best players and stuff. That would be kind of cool. But all this random skills composition, it was like, hey, we want to be like the NBA, but we can't replicate that. Like, just get rid of the game.
Yeah.
Just
The
get
NBA
rid of the
still
game. Name
plays a
people all
game.
pro. Yeah. And it matters. And it actually matters.
Yep.
I don't know. Pro Bowl
Abolish it.
sucks.
Abolish the kickers. Abolish the Pro Bowl. Get them out of here.
Yeah. 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 Let's move on. Sorry, I'm getting a flood of text messages right now about what you were doing while you were gone. I queued the audience and some of our loyal listeners, so we're gonna touch on those things at the back end of this.
What?
All the things that you were doing while we were gone and why your connection dropped for that slick moment in time. So we're gonna draft our top 5 fictional athletes in honor of the Pro Bowl. It's fake football. It's fake skills compositions. It's a bunch of stuff that we don't care about. Maybe we'll talk about one day. But these guys have more of an impact on us when it comes to the sporting world than anybody in the Pro Bowl on Pro Bowl day. Top 5 fictional athletes, Tony. Do you want the first pick or do you want the turn?
I have no idea which way you're going, so I'll go first.
You know I go both ways, Tony. So
Yeah, that's fair. First pick, Al Bundy. He scored 4
God
touchdowns
damn it!
in 18.
Damn it! That was the number 1 overall.
4 touchdowns in a single game playing for the Polk High School Panthers in the 1966 City Championship game. Give me Al Bundy, first pick off the board.
God, I fucking hate you.
That was the only one I wasn't sure if you take.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh gosh. Well, that sucks. There goes my whole thing. There's only one fictional sports character that can outdo anything that Al Bundy did, and that's because this fictional sports character plays every sport, dominates every sport. If you think of it, cricket, underwater basket weaving, the Aussie rules football, NFL football, American football,
Mhm.
soccer, basketball, and that is Airbud.
God
Airbud is
damn
my
it.
number one pick. Like
It's
Bo
good.
Jackson, eat your heart out. Deion Sanders, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan batting 136, like eat your heart out.
And you get the added
Nobody.
bonus of Airbud being a very, very good boy.
Yeah. And we're hitting all the demographics here, Tony. So we're an all-inclusive podcast.
Nice. Well done.
As of whatever January 31st, 9:55 p.m. 2024. My number two, um, I'm gonna go with Doug Reamer. You know who Doug Reamer
Hmm.
is?
No, tell
Doug
me.
Reamer. Uh, changed the game of basketball. This is the curly-headed fuck, also known as Matt Stone, a creator of South Park.
South Park. Yeah.
In basketball, he's the one that brought confusing your opponents. He's the one who lactates on his opponents. He's the one who brings so-and-so's mom's pubes to a basketball game and totally changed the trajectory of the sport. Total influence. He's the Vic Fangio, the Shanahan of basketball, Doug Rimmer. It might be Reamer. I don't know how to pronounce it. I haven't watched the movie in like 10 years.
Yeah, that's a one and done. It's been a while. Okay. So got it.
Yeah,
I
you're
got Al
screwed.
Bundy. I had Air Bud. He was queued up.
I'm
Um,
here for people who have changed the game.
all right, I got a guy who changed the game. He changed the game of dodgeball. Patches O'Houlihan, dodgeball legend, even coached the average Joes to an improbable victory over Globo Gym. Give me Patches O'Houlihan. It's my second pick.
That's a good one.
That's very good. It's a
That's a
fun
good
name
one.
to say, honestly.
Yeah.
Next pick, I'm gonna go with South Central Louisiana State University's own 31-year-old stud, the muddiest Nate of all the mud dogs, Bobby Boucher, the water boy, with my third pick here.
Excellent linebacker.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Excellent linebacker. And contrary to popular belief, you don't need Gatorade. You don't need water. You just need love from your mama
That's right.
and care for your mama. uh,
It's good.
but prefer high quality H2O and Diet Coke. Not a sponsor. Let's see. I am going to go with a guy. You know, now when you go and you see all this highlight tape and film of players, right? And there's this program called Huddle that like high schools can buy, and it's really good at creating highlight tapes or film of individual players. So
Mm-hmm.
what they do is they put this camera up, and it's for all these sports, and it can identify individual players, right? Like you just click, okay, this is the number or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
identifies, so it'll circle. Look at them on this play. You see that on like high school recruits and stuff. Change the game for high school recruiting, because now coaches don't need to go everywhere to see a player or share a VHS tape or upload a USB or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. They just scroll the internet. Files get sent to them by people regionally and stuff like that. But the guy who was the trailblazer for this, we saw him standing outside of a trailer, outside of his trailer with a video camera there, and it cued the idea for all the really smart, techie savvy people in the world. And that is Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. He is the founder of creating your own personal highlight tapes to display to people, even if your coach didn't put you in the fourth quarter so you could win a state championship, knowing that you could throw a football over those mountains right there. Uncle Rico is my third pick.
Uncle
My
Rico.
fourth pick, man. Oh man. Let's go with. I'm gonna go with old Billy Hoyle He's the guy. Well, historically, yes, there was whites playing basketball in the National Basketball Association, and they may be the logo for the league. Inner cities, you don't see the white kid playing. You don't see the white kid because he can't jump. Little did they know this white boy had moves, and he paved the way for guys like Bobby Hurley, Greg Paulus, John Shire, Kyle Singler, J.J. Redick, everybody else that was white and played basketball at Duke.
Christian Leitner.
Christian Leitner. Yeah.
Was Keith Van Horn also? No.
No. Christian Leitner doesn't make Team USA basketball as a college student if it's not for Bobby Hoyle in White Man Can't Jump, played by Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
That's my fourth. You got two.
All right. So I gotta preface this next one. I just want to say that Powerade is delicious and it cools you off on a hot summer day. And Nate and I are looking forward to Powerade's release of Mystic Mountain Blueberry. My next pick is Ricky Bobby. Got to hit my Bible Belt demographics here. If you ain't first, you're last, Nate. Give me Ricky Bobby for my fourth pick. That's an obvious.
He was so great that in the morning he woke up and pissed excellence.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that. He even had a chocolate fountain in his house.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's better is his teammate who took his old lady, moved into his house, made it into a nacho fountain. Like, golly, that dude. Cal Naughton Jr. Put some respect on Cal Naughton Jr.
Yeah. So
ain't no wrong with Silver.
Ricky Bobby was so good, Dale Earnhart asked for his autograph in the movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's wild. Final pick here. One of the most electric fictional closers of all time. You know who I'm talking about? You know what I'm getting at? One of his, primary quotes, maybe his greatest contribution to the game of baseball. Fundamentals are a crutch for the talentless. Give me Kenny Powers with my final pick to close it out for me. Round out my top five.
Damn it. That was going to be my last
It's
one,
gold.
too. I was like...
So good.
That's one of the greatest gifts that you could use in text messages is Kenny Powers walking out to the mound and it's just like the American flags and fireworks behind him. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's so good. In honor of the fact that Brock Purdy will not be at the Pro Bowl games playing Madden or submitting his best catch, videotape or anything like that, I'm going to go with another underrated quarterback. He's small. People didn't think he should have been the guy. He was a backup. But the number one guy got injured. And he stepped in and he took the team to state. And that is Matt Saracen from Friday Night Lights, the TV show. One of the greatest characters in all of sports entertainment. Matt Saracen. The guy had been like 5'8", 135 pounds. He gives everybody hope, man.
Mm-hmm.
Gives everybody hope. Trailblazer for the great Brock Purdy, the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL, carries his team to the Super Bowl for a chance to win a ring, unlike other people who may be proclaimed as the MVP or dual threat quarterback, the best one that could throw and pass. I don't know. I'm fucking bitter.
Brock Purdy might not be in the NFL if not for this guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't get a shot to go to Iowa State, sling it around. To recap, Tony, you filibustered and took Al Bundy, Patches Houlihan, Bobby Boucher, Ricky Bobby, you like bees, and Kenny Powers. I obviously have the greatest list of all time, the most dynamic athlete of all time in Air Bud. You can't deny Air Bud.
He was on my list.
I got Doug Reamer from Basketball, Uncle Rico, the founder of Huddle, Bobby Hoyle, shout out to letting all us whites know that we can play basketball too, and Matt Saracen for inspiring Brock Purdy to be an NFL quarterback. You have any honorable mentions, Tony?
I had a few that didn't make the cut. I just came prepared. I wasn't sure how many you were taking from me, but I had Benny the Jet Rodriguez, inspiration to others. Obviously played for the Dodgers eventually. I had Ricky the Wild Thing Vaughn, the other closer. If you would have taken Kenny Powers, I was probably going to use him as my fifth pick. And then I had Happy Gilmore. Dude transitioned from hockey to golf in less than 90 minutes, just right before our eyes, right on the movie screen. Fought with Bob Barker, took down Shooter McGavin, though he never played golf before. It's wild
Yeah,
stuff. Wild stuff.
yeah,
Did you have
crazy.
any?
Yeah, I had Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid. You got to have a villain. You got to have a
Oh, yeah.
guy that everybody hates because that's why people hated Christian Leitner
Yeah.
because and every white that went to Duke, you hate all those guys. And Johnny Lawrence paved the way for those guys. Um, Look, he might not be an American, but he embodied America. An Italian American, the Italian stallion himself, Rocky Balboa. He defeated
Hmm.
he defeated the damn whole
Communism.
Soviet Union.
Communism.
Communism.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's the reason why Putin's so mad. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to set up a
Why is he so
rematch. I
angry?
heard.
It's Rocky.
I heard. Yeah, I was over there reading that. The mainstream media on Babylon B. They're trying to set up a whole nother round 7 for that guy or something like that. I
Jesus.
don't know what it is, but they're trying to do it again, run it back. And then I had look, not all, some people would say NASCAR is not a sport, right? Well, you got to sit there and it's tough and it's mentally taxing,
Hmm.
right? You can't shit, you can't piss, you can't do that in poker either. So I got Matt McDermott from Rounders, which is Matt Damon's character or whatever like that. He took down the KGB as well. He took down the
American
KGB.
American hero.
American hero. God bless the US of A. Top 5 fictional athletes. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube or comment on, leave a review on Apple and Spotify and let us know who your top 5 fictional athletes are of all time. Rants and raves, Tony. Do you have a rant or a rave that you would like to share with humanity?
I mean, I could rant all day about a number of topics, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it positive. So I'm a rave. I'm a rave about reading. You inspired me. Like 2 of these shows ago, 3 of these shows ago, you talked about how you read like 17 books a month or something last year. I don't remember what the number
No,
was. It was high.
no.
It was high. It was much higher than my number. But it's back. It's back in my life. Like the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. I dropped the ball last year with my reading goal. I wanted to read a book a month. Didn't hit. I think I hit like 3 books last year. This year, though, I'm already at 3 books behind me. I'm
Yeah.
actually in my 4th, about halfway done. Dune 2's coming out, so I just started that as my 4th book. Lots of sci-fi. Project Hail Mary, I got through that a second time. Artemis, Red Rising, really good series if you're into sci-fi. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the second, third, for all the subsequent books are on hold, so it's going to be a while. So I picked up Dune, and I'm about halfway through that with the second movie coming out in like a week or so. But yeah, man, it's good. I don't know why I don't make time for it. If you're like me, in 2023, try to make some time for reading. It'll help you out. Mental health. Pick some stuff you like. Self-help books, whatever. You'll love it. It's like running, right? You hate it when you're doing it. Maybe the idea of doing it is terrifying, but after you get it done, like you are pretty satisfied. It's pretty
Yeah.
rewarding.
I find that reading makes me feel more creative. Like it expands my mind, regardless of what I'm reading, right? And I like to read stuff that I'm into, stuff I agree with, stuff I don't agree with,
Yeah.
or I think is lunatic or whatever like that. I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who got me that way of like read things that I don't particularly believe
Challenge
in.
you. Yeah.
So
Challenge your beliefs.
that challenge your beliefs or whatever like that, right? Like
Yep.
he'll read a lot about different religious stuff or things in science that he doesn't believe in that are opposite of his viewpoints, but he's
Mm-hmm.
like it like who are we, like he even talks about like people in relationships. Like why would you want to date somebody just like you? Like go have some fun and find somebody who's different than you. Like all the dating sites are wrong and because you're trying to find someone exactly like you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to be with someone just like you, just be with you. Like go experience something different. Life's about
Mm-hmm.
experiencing new things and stuff. And so I started doing that or whatever. I just started. I watched Diary of a CEO and he had like Jordan Peterson on twice or whatever like that. And Jordan Peterson has a line where he talks about how uh, one of his rules, I guess, is like um, something like don't lie or tell the truth or at least don't lie, essentially, right? So, and he talks about how that can be uh, traumatic for people to tell the truth, or it's hard to live a life of
Mm.
truth or whatever like that. So it caught my eye. So I was like, oh, let me pick up his book or whatever. He's got like a couple of them, but so I just started like 12 Rules for Life and stuff like that. And I'm
Nice.
interested to see what it's like. Um, I don't know if I enjoy. I don't really like hearing people talk about politics. I make jokes about it all the time,
Hmm.
but like when people get on political rants and stuff like that, I don't really care for because it makes me like really anxious and like I can feel my blood turn into like electricity or whatever,
That's what they're
regardless if I
supposed to.
believe it or
That's what it's
yeah.
supposed to do. It's supposed to turn us
If it
against each other, right? That's
if it bleeds,
that's
it
the whole
leads. You know.
objective.
uh, it's kind of funny. Someone was talking about. Now I'm just ranting about random stuff,
Do
but
it.
someone was talking about on the internet about how the Pledge of Allegiance doesn't hold weight anymore because it talks about one nation under God, indivisible. Yet the government literally divided humanity, like in the United States, right? Like, granted, people have to believe into it, right? But the government
Yeah.
does such a good job with two-party system to be like, you're either this or this, and
Yeah.
both sides do it, and it's like you're this if you're this, you're this if you're this, or whatever like that, and it's like, but it says indivisible, but we're pretty much the most divided we've ever been. It's kind of
Hmm.
crazy. Um, anyways, off of that,
It's by
but yeah, I
design.
started. Yeah, it's by design.
Yeah.
Psyop. Let's start a tinfoil hat show too. Nah, my rant. It's gonna be a rave. But kind of on some of the same things with positivity and stuff like that. One thing I noticed, and I noticed this in at the end of the divisional round, and I noticed it because I was watching John Harbaugh give his post game presser or whatever like that, and he started off with like scripture.
Hmm.
And for me, faith has been like a big part of my life. So, in a, I don't know, maybe it's just what you see in the world or whatever like that, but like people put down things for religion or whatever it is and what people believe in and stuff. But it's kind of cool to see some of the bigger leaders in the NFL, the big people that are, or just in, I guess, society that we all see and witness on television, and you can think one thing or the other about them. But John Harbaugh spoke about his faith and stuff that resonated with him throughout the game, or he thought about or read before the game. Brock Purdy openly talks about that stuff. C.J. Stroud as well, and then a singer. He's a country singer, Jelly Roll. He talks about it big time. He did his speech after winning whatever music people win. Is that a Grammy or something
Grammy,
like that?
something like that.
Uh,
Yeah.
about that part of his life and his upbringing and stuff is pretty interesting. I listened to him on a podcast about like he went through like his life has been hell, 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 and then just kept going and had faith in whatever he was doing and stuff like that and following a certain way. And he attributes a lot of positivity in his life to that, and I do as well. So I just want to give a shout out and rave about those people because a lot of people I think are kind of like afraid to talk about that kind of stuff in the public eye, and it's kind of cool to see people that everybody idolize is do a lot of those type of things and not be ashamed of whatever or trying to hold back and just being honest with it, so and being
Yeah.
truthful to who they are, because I think that's what we like to see in athletes or public figures is like getting to learn to know them, right? Know them as people and what their everyday life is like, and being able to find similarities in that and what we do on an everyday as well. So um, I thought I'd give a little couple claps to that. So because I think it's kind of cool. I used
I'd
to
like
get pissed off at it when I was younger.
I'd like to give
Like,
a couple claps out to like a jelly roll, like a real one. That shit looks so good. It's got like the powdered
yeah,
sugar on top.
dude,
Oh man, I'm gonna have to find myself some of these.
let's make some.
Hostess, is she little Debbie?
Oh, don't do those ones. Little Debbie has those like little strawberry shortcake
Yeah,
ones. Um,
I
is
don't.
is a zinger a jelly roll?
I
Is
don't
a
know.
zinger a jelly roll?
I don't. I didn't know who Jelly Roll was, so I looked it up, and this was one of the first things that came up. I got
Oh.
sidetracked. I'm sorry. I'm a little hungry. I got a sweet tooth.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Um, all right. Before we get out of here, and I talk about all the things that Tony was doing while he was gone, and the justification for him getting off the show in the middle of it, and then obviously coming back because he's narcissistic and all that kind of stuff. But follow the show on Spotify, on Apple. You can click on the little subscribe thing. It'll give you a notification, or it'll just put it in your feed whenever there's a new episode. Same thing on the YouTube. Hit subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you like it. Um, and leave another comment as to why you're even still here, because it's like it's almost an hour that we've been going and stuff like that. So let us know why you're here or why you left if you're still here and you're about to leave right now before I talk about this stuff, like why you don't want to hear it because you don't care about Tony's life. But you can follow the show everywhere at Taco Corp Sports. Tony, I queued the audience, and the number one thing that came up was that you were actually planning to run for Colorado office, and as we got further in and you knew that we were going to start talking negatively and bad about people, or that we bring up fictional characters that would talk about, lactating on your opponent while they're trying to shoot a basketball, that you're distancing yourself from the pod and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. You also left your job and forgot to flip the satellite switch. Your car broke again due to hail, and the hail broke your internet box because hail is obviously out to get you.
Don't get me started on hail.
Yeah. There's a few other ones, but I won't go into them because this is a family show, and we don't say things like fuck, piss, cunt, and all that kind of stuff. So,
on the running for office note, one of my new goals in life is to run for office as far. I'm going to run for office in Alaska, and I'm going to campaign on the border, the Mexican border, and I'm going to win an election. Campaign on that alone. I'm going to secure the Mexican border from Alaska, Nate. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go. Hawaii? Let them know that you can see Russia from your house.
It's so good. It's a fun time of year.
We should do shows where, the listener. So go to, if you're still watching right now, right? You're obviously still watching. I don't know why I say if you're still watching, like the people who aren't watching are hearing this. So go to Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, and DM the @Taco Corp Sports account. It's only me. And then come up with things that politicians have said that we should have to try to fit into the show, or I should have to try to fit into the show to throw Tony off, because I'm probably more likely to figure out a way to tie it in. You would do really good with it too. I thought about that as well, like asking people like, hey, what should give me a word that's so outrageous that it would make Tony laugh. Like when I said,
oh my God,
matriculate, right? Every time I say matriculate, you say matriculate.
It doesn't sound like a real word. It still sounds made up to me.
It works. Banger of the week is Jelly Roll, Son of a Sinner. For Tony, I'm Nate. This is Taco Corp episode 134, Championship Week recap. Anything else for the listener?
Nope. Enjoy the Pro Bowl. It's going to be so much fun.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.